All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. This is our very first update from the South episode. This is our weekly check on the pulse of the division. We will update the standings, go over last week and next for each team and any news that needs to be discussed. So let's go All In Colts.
I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep. We have discussed this before on our Unstable Blues show, but for this new audience, let's go over the ridiculousness of this division.
First, the Colts
Yes.
are not in the South. Indiana was not Confederate in the Civil War. It is one state away from Canada and 3 states away from the Gulf of Mexico at best.
Mm-hmm. And then number 2, the other 3 teams in the division are completely illegitimate. The Jaguars may have only claim at being legitimate, but 2 real teams coming into the league, both with cat mascots and the teal 95 expansion. Come on.
Then the Titans are refugees from Houston who no longer wanted to provide a quality home for the Oilers.
Then, since there can only be one team from Houston, the Houston Oilers, the current youngest team in the NFL, we simply refer to as the team from Houston. So it's kind of our things.
Yep. Before we get into it as a whole, though, a couple things from the Colts. One, reading between the lines, sounds like Shane will bring to the league's attention the hits on Anthony Richardson.
I like it. Very needed. Jalen Jones took responsibility for his errors in the Houston game, even though I thought he played pretty decent.
He did. Way to take ownership. Accountability is big with Shane and the new coaching staff. So kudos to him.
Yeah.
So the current standings, there is one team with a win currently in AFC South. That would be Houston because they beat the Colts. And so that puts everyone else at 0-1, 1 game back. The technicality, 1 game in, would be that the Titans are second because their loss came against the NFC. The Jaguars are in third because theirs came against the AFC, and the Colts are in last because of the division loss.
Yeah, but
One
it's
game.
still 1 week.
It's one game.
So there's a team from Houston update.
Yes.
Have we explained what a team from Houston update is on this show already?
Yeah, no, we haven't.
We haven't. Okay.
Done the official team from Houston update. I don't have one here.
We don't? Okay.
No, this is simply the team from Houston update is the update on Houston.
Yes.
Okay, we'll fill them in. So the team from Houston update is typically a backhanded, sarcastic compliment to the team from Houston.
What was our first one? Our first one was like
our first one back when they hired Lovie Smith. We said, "Congratulations, you now have Black Santa Claus as your coach."
Indeed.
I don't have a official team from Houston update, but in light of the game this past week, I do have a video that shows how I feel.
Okay. I guess that works.
You want to take a look?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that work for you?
Yeah. That definitely works. I mean, I think I feel the same. There's been, 5 people just before 10 today that were like, "Hey, Liam, how the Colts do?" I'm like, listen. And then I explained it to some people who I actually knew well. Some of the people they just know I'm a Colts fan.
Yeah.
But the people that I knew well, I was like, okay, they're supposed to be Super Bowl contenders, and we only lost by 2. And I think both teams have work to do to strive in. So I'm happy and content. That is a good loss for me because we're gonna lose at some point. Every team does. I don't know how long it's been since there's been an undefeated. So I mean, it's bound to have a loss. Yes, it sucks that we're 0-1 and we can't ever start above. We can't start perfect or have perfect.
Yep.
And that's
Not
fine.
since 2013.
Exactly. But like, it's not season ending or anything. It's tough that it was at home against Houston, but other than that, I mean, it was a good loss, I'll say. So,
Yeah. All right. So, this team from Houston update is not sarcastic. This is just what I'm entitling this segment where we're going to talk about Houston. Not a whole lot to talk about that we haven't talked about already. They played the Colts, and you can check out our full game recap from yesterday on that.
Yep.
That'll break it down for you.
Next week, the Texans have their home opener against the Bears. The 1-0 Bears with Caleb Williams, except Caleb Williams did not do anything. He got 7.11 fantasy points or something like that. I have him on my bench. I'm like, sure, why not? Every single point scored was special teams or defense. Same thing for the Steelers. I just think it's funny how an AFC South team gets beat by special teams and defense. So
Houston has a ton more weapons than the Bears on both sides of the ball. So once again, on paper, you would consider this to be a Houston landslide. But I think everybody thought that about the Colts as well. 2 points is not a landslide.
Yeah. And then also the Bears, but the Bears defense is like, I guess you could say relentless, very get after it type of defense. Takes their chances whenever they get them. They don't fail on the opportunity. Jalen Johnson is a phenomenal corner. He played very, very well against the Titans. And I mean, kind of to hit on what you said about the weapons, not only does Houston have more weapons than the Bears, Houston has more weapons than the Titans do as well.
Oh, yeah.
Who they just played. And yes, it was, I mean, a bad showing for the Titans, but I mean, theoretically, you'd think, okay, Houston's got this, right?
Yeah. I don't know that Caleb Williams is going to know what hit him. I think, this may be a real wake-up call into what the NFL is really like, especially when you got Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter coming off the edges at you.
Little side note before we go on. Did you see Caleb Williams, how he painted his nails? Because, he does his nails and all that.
Yeah, I know he does it every game. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see this one? He
No.
did he had number like a hashtag 18, and then he put "the Bears" on it. So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care for the nail polish, but I thought that kind of thing was pretty funny. Okay, so with all this being said, kind of set up about the game, what would you say are your keys to the game for either side? Really?
Yeah. I think the key to the game is gonna be the defense.
Any specific side or just as a whole?
I think whoever has the better defense is gonna win. I mean,
defense does win championships.
There's gonna be a lot of I'm old school like this. There's gonna be a lot of attention on the offense because of who's there and all the things from last year and this year and all these top draft picks and the quarterbacks and the receivers, all the the offseason moves, and so a lot of window dressing. But I mean, both defenses are really good, And so I think whoever is going to perform better on defense against the offense is going to win. And that's going to be the key.
So to kind of say what you said about the defense, I think that does play a major factor. But I think the reason Houston had so much success against Indy is because of the run game with Joe Mixon. I think that the Bears have to be able to stop Joe Mixon. If they can't do that, I think they will lose the game. Because if you can pass and run the ball both very efficiently, like Houston did against Indy, you can control the pace of the game. And against a team, especially like Chicago, who I don't think can really go down and score quick, I think controlling the pace of the game is a huge part.
Yeah. All right. Well, 95 Kitties update. Obviously played the Dolphins, and that was pretty much the first half went one way, and the second half went another way.
Yeah, they did a good job. They started out strong. Trevor Lawrence had 12. He went 12 for 21, so he didn't throw that much. He had 162 yards, 1 touchdown. And that touchdown was to the rookie Brian Thomas Jr. I saw a clip of it where Trevor launched the ball in the corner of the end zone, and Brian Thomas was still in the screen, and just went and got right in the back of it so quick. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is a talented wide receiver.
Yep. ETN only had 44 yards on 12 carries, 1 touchdown, but fumbled right at the goal line one time.
Yep. And then just kind of wrap up the whole recap thing was they started off strong, but the Dolphins were just too much to handle in the second half. And I mean, that's kind of what we had talked about whenever we talked about the Jaguars game in the first place. So
Yep. So next week they have their home opener against the Browns,
who just lost to the Cowboys. So I mean, we'll see about that. The Browns are prone to turnovers against the Cowboys. Now, I'd say the Cowboys has a lot better defense than the Jaguars do, but the Jaguars still have a talented defense. There's no massive names other than maybe Josh Allen, or doesn't he have some other name he goes by or something like that? Regardless, I mean, you're gonna be turnover prone, and there's a lot of things going on with Deshaun Watson. And his linemen especially
lacked the consistency on offense, and they couldn't get consistent stops on defense either to the Browns.
Yeah. So, and then they had no answer. The Browns had no answer for CeeDee Lamb. He basically did whatever he wanted to against them, which, I mean, I was playing – one of the persons I was playing his fantasy had CD on his team, picked him up as number 1 picked. Kind of shocked me because I was like, whoa, I did not expect that. Because the number 2, 3, and 4 didn't go until the second round, which is very surprising because I picked up Reek. Anyways, sorry, not fantasy. But CD got to do pretty much whatever he pleased against the Browns, and I mean, made Dak look good. Yeah, made him look worth that $240 million.
Yeah,
goodness gracious, Jerry Jones, Wall starting.
Then the Browns allowed a punt return for a touchdown, and then Njoku may be out with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, so a lot of question marks up in the air for the Browns. Is there any? What do you think are the keys to the game?
You ready? My key to this game, same as the other. Defense. I think they're both strong defenses, and they both have overpaid quarterbacks. And
I think, definitely agree. I think I kind of hit on the Deshaun Watson thing. I think if Deshaun Watson can click, I think that the Jaguars are going to have a hard time. But I think if Deshaun Watson can't get anything going, then the Jags are going to take this one.
Yeah. Well, last one. It's time for the Displaced Oilers update.
Yep. They played at the Bears last week, like we had talked about.
Yeah.
Will Levis, Mr. Mayonnaise,
Mm-hmm.
went 120 for 127 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a fumble.
Yeah.
3 turnovers.
Mr. Mayonnaise was scraping the bottom of the jar there, so to speak. I think he got the worst ranking of quarterback for the week. Tony Pollard went for 82 yards and a touchdown, though. So
Yeah,
he had a good showing.
He definitely performed well.
Yeah.
Once again, kind of like the Jaguars. The Titans and the Jaguars both up at half. Whoa.
Yep.
AFC South looks really dominant right now. And then in the second half, they just couldn't get anything going, just like the Jaguars.
Yep. Next week now they play. They have their home opener against the Jets, who lost now to the Niners.
Yes. Keys to the game?
Well, okay. So, what did we learn about the Jets? It's going to be Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
And then it's going to be Breece Hall and Breece Hall in a check down. And that's about it. And then, some of the same defense that they had last year, kind of.
Yep. Did you talk about Lazard at all?
I did not.
I saw Lazard had some pretty, not like big plays, but they were plays still.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
He has that connection.
Yep. I was about to say Aaron Rodgers and Lazard have played together before.
Yeah.
In Green Bay. He took, Rodgers brought over Lazard and Randall Cobb, or as a lot of people like to call him now, the ghost of Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
I think
as far as my keys to the game, though, well, I'll stick with the same theme. Defense. Let's face it, like, for as badly as the Titans offense did, their defense did really good.
Yeah.
Their defense did really good stuff. And we know what the Jets defense can do from last year, when that was all that they could do. So it's going to be defense. Whoever wins defense is going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think I'm going to kind of defer from you here. I think yes, it is defense. Defense does win championships. That is the saying. I think it's a very good saying as well. But I think in this game specifically, it's going to be the offense. I think whoever can get clicking first is going to get it done. Because I think, obviously there was the one game that Will Levis just, I don't know what happened, but he just went off, threw for 4 massive touchdowns. I think it was last year or something like that.
He was in the Oilers uniform.
Yeah. So, I saw that. I was like, oh my goodness, we have to play that next week. It didn't end up, nothing ended up happening. So Will Levis is a big hit or a miss. So, he has one good game every 5 games. So as long as Aaron Rodgers can get things clicking for the offense, I shouldn't be worried about it if you're a Jets fan. So,
yeah. Well, we're going to pick 2 AFC South games coming up tomorrow in our Unstable Pick 6. So that means it's now time for our outlier pick.
Okay.
We will pick the other game from the AFC South, just so we pick all the games, but just won't pick it in the Unstable Pick 6. Won't count in our overall record. We've decided that outlier pick will be this game with the Jets at the Titans. So who do you think will win the game against the Jets and Titans?
Like I said, offense needs to click. I don't know how much I can say. I think if Breece Hall gets going, it's whoever's offense clicks first. But I think specifically if Breece Hall gets going, they're gonna have a hard time because their run defense I would say isn't as great as their past defense, especially picking up Snead this past season. So I think the biggest matchup to watch kind of go like, we do our game preview where it's matchups to watch, kind of just one matchup to watch, Snead versus Garrett Wilson. I think that is like the matchup to watch. If Snead can lock down Wilson, I think the Jets might have a problem. But if even Wilson gets good touches on the ball, like it's going to be Jets. So I think I got Jets win this one.
All right. Also sounds like you're going the way of the running back, which would be fitting as you were a running back.
Yeah.
Where if Breece Hall gets going, then you're going with the Jets. If Tony Pollard goes off, then you're going to go with the Titans?
Yeah.
Safe to assume
pretty much.
That?
Yeah. No, I would love the Jets to win, though, because that's good for the AFC South.
Of course.
Well, not good for the AFC South, good for the Colts.
Sticking with my defense idea and which defense can perform better against which offense, and maybe which offense is not going to perform as well, maybe, depending. I don't see Will Levis outperforming Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Against any kind of defense.
Yeah.
And if the defenses are equal, then it goes to the offense. And so I'm going to say that the Jets will win this. Not by much. I don't think it's going to be by a lot, but I think that the Jets will pull it out maybe by a field goal or something like that.
Okay. So closer than a lot of people think.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that. I think Billy Jeans is going to learn from his mistakes this past week. He'll, he won't be as prone to incidences. But I mean, he's got a cannon. He's just here to show it off. So that's not a recipe for success in my opinion.
Especially with a retirement home of receivers. So
yeah, that's true.
That's
true. Well, that's it for today. We will be back with our Unstable Pick 6, where we will predict 6 high-profile games from around the NFL, including seeing how we did last week, and we want you to participate. Later this week, we will also have our Fantasy Stable focus on Colts players in fantasy football and our preview of the Colts against the loveless Packers in Lambeau.
This is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Remind you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.